think it would have been, what word is, cancer, death.
First word I think of would also be pain.
It wasn't spoken about. If you have cancer, you die. There's no cure, you're dead.
I would never be able to have any goals again or dreams or, I thought my life was over.
People being really unwell.
I knew nothing about cancer except that it was a killer.
The very first thing I knew I was going to die. I was scared.
The silent killer.
So in a sense, in the eye of the community, cancer is a death sentence. They don't even think about the fact that cancer could actually be cured.
If I consider the origin of stigma in this country, as a social community, we have had as part of our political history a lot of emphasis on difference. We have a culture of people thinking about themselves as being better off than others and looking down and considering other people as being of lesser worth.
I've been touched by the role that stigma plays in the lives of people touched by cancer. And I just see that the whole stigma issue has not developed to the same rate as what cancer treatment has developed in South Africa. The stigma and the emotional impact that it has on cancer patients is still as bad as it was right in the beginning when I started working in oncology.
If there was one thing I could have taken back then, it would have been to be more open to my family and not like I was brought up, don't talk about it. You are not able to handle it on your own. I certainly was not able to handle it on my own.
Photo Voice, it's basically an evidence-based research community project. So it's about collecting evidence and then for each person who has something to say, to choose an image that goes along with what they've got to say. Because the images can be quite confronting, the stories are very personal. So the advocacy is really extremely illuminating.
And the more I see those stories, the more I see the theme of stigma coming through in different ways.
In 2003, I went for a routine insurance medical, and while undergoing this insurance medical, blood was found in my urine. It was then discovered that my prostate was very hard, and leading up to that, it was discovered that I had prostate cancer.
I was diagnosed in 1998, didn't know what to do. The first thing that came to my mind was death. I had to go home, break the news to my husband, whom I had 2 kids with, who left me immediately.
I don't think I was a candidate for cancer because I lived a healthy life. It's one of those things that if it happens, it happens. At 49, I discovered a lump in my breast.
The effect it had on my people was, especially my wife and my daughter, it brought us more closer together. It was very important. Otherwise, I don't know.
2009, when I go back, they found out I've got a lump also in my breast. Oh, I was very shocked and I cry. I cry a lot. And the time they said I've got cancer, I thought myself I'm going to die because my mom didn't stay long.
Being male, we are sometimes very chauvinist. We want to be macho, we want to know it all. Nothing affects us, we're too brave. And that was kind of the attitude I adopted. I didn't need to tell my family. They didn't need to know.
I couldn't speak to anybody. It was a family thing. I'm a public figure even in the church. I could not tell anybody. And I had to be in that little corner. My husband was gone.
I didn't want to be part of my mom's friends who had cancer or knew their aunts and grandmas had cancer because it made me feel old.
He left me with just 3 kids, but I try and survive with them.
I used to think that there are a lot less black people being diagnosed or getting cancer than white people. But I've since found out that is not the truth. It's only because they don't speak up. A lot of them die and nobody knows why they died, how they died. They don't talk about it.
It doesn't come out because they're scared of the neighbors, what they're going to say about this. I've got cancer. He want to hide himself, you know. Because in the olden days, cancer, even the older people, they didn't call it cancer. They call it a big soul. It can't be cured. It can't be cured, you know.
People who I thought were my friends kind of faded because they obviously didn't want to be part of what was happening to me. And then there were friends who stood by me through it all, and today they are still my very, very close friends.
Sometimes I say, cowboys don't cry. But when I'm at home, I'm alone at home, I sit in the corner and I cry just thinking about these people. Think about my friends I lost. When you've got cancer and you're sick, you don't feel like going out, you're feeling down. And all your friends you had, you don't see your friends anymore. They don't come. It's only your wife and your children. And the people that you go through. Die mense wat jy saam is wat saam jou deur die chemo gaat. You become very attached to these people. Because they're the only people you can speak about your illness, because they went through the same thing that you're going through. Then it's only them.
I was so embarrassed when I slept in a hospital, whole 8 days. Only my kids are coming to visit. Your husband is there. You see the colors, the others, the whites. Come and visit. Where's yours? Where's mine? What's gone?
The knowledge and the beliefs have not synchronized in a sense. And because of the ignorance, it's actually exacerbated the stigma problem.
Four outstanding themes are issues regarding stigma, issues related to transport difficulties, access to transport, the implications of poverty, and the last standout theme for me has been access to information.
I exhausted my medical aid because of the therapy. So I was then forced to go to public hospitals. When entering the public hospital, that was the time I started asking questions. But in the public hospitals, they could not give me the answers. And I found it very strange because I have people treating me with all kinds of chemicals and things, but they couldn't tell me what was really going on. And that was where the biggest problem came in, because nobody at the time would tell me, go and seek counseling, even the doctors.
When they were telling me that they can't give my sister a bed because she's very sick, they want us to take care of her, they want us to give her love. You know, we love each other at home. But when the person is sick, she must go to hospital where there are trained people there to look after. They are paid for that, to look after sick people. Sick people can't stay with people who doesn't know anything.
I think the biggest thing is the lack of coordinated effort, the lack of government will, the lack of proper services, the lack of access, the lack of when people go to a primary healthcare clinic. So I think people have been so disempowered by poor service delivery that they've become despondent.
If you got cancer, you will go to Grooteskier. It's not easy to go to Grooteskier if you're staying in Khayelitsha. It's not easy to go to Tygerberg. You see? You don't know where to start.
Many people in our country, for social reasons, are not able to follow through on treatment. Many folk outside of the main centres will not get the same quality of care as people who live close to the treatment centres.
In my community, people don't think that it's my fault or that I'm bewitched, but there are other communities where they view illness as a demon or a curse.
I've found patients that will come with the cancer maybe showing on the outside, And they don't tell the doctors that they've been to traditional healers. Ask them, what did the traditional healer say to you about the cancer? Was he going to cure it? So she said, the traditional healer said to her, the cancer is going to come out. So I said, but now here, the doctors are worried that the cancer has spread.
No one spoke about cancer because we never speak about cancer. It's like you're bewitching yourself. It is believed that it's bewitched. God is punishing you. I knew absolutely nothing, and I was a banker, a professional, but I knew nothing.
People will always think that it's your fault, you did something wrong.
A young black woman said to me the other day, Linda, you have no idea what it's like to live in Khayelitsha and be a woman living with breast cancer, where you can't speak about it, because if you do speak about it, you're judged, or you seem to be contagious, or you are seen to be bewitched. That just shook me to my bones, because I just felt the loneliness and the isolation.
A lot of people, when you diagnose, they treat you as now all of a sudden, you know, you're not the same person, you're not as effective as before. Our entire lives changed.
People go to the clinic, some don't, are afraid to go to the clinic, some are afraid because of stigma. As a cervical cancer, I've been there. I've been rejected because I lost my womb and I lost my ovaries. And many women are afraid to come out.
And people don't want to come out for fear of being left by their boyfriends or their husbands.
In their culture, if you had to remove a breast, you're not a woman anymore. And the same with a man. If he had to remove a testicle, his wife considers him as not a full man anymore.
That time I feel down. I didn't even want. I was painful because I feel myself like I'm nothing. I go up to health care, special to the doctor, and ask, doctor, is something wrong with me? Why is my husband leaving me? The doctor said, no, there's nothing. But be yourself and be strong. That's what I am trying to do now. That's why I want to motivate the other women and other people there out there. They must know there's life after cancer. If you target it early, you can have life. That's why I'm trying to do now. Everybody must know there is life after that.
Every single person's story is as important as the next. So I think immediately that sets a tone of what something looks like when it is not stigmatized.
I then met a friend, a very good friend, and said to me, come, I need you to just go with me one evening and listen to these people. And then I could question and I could ask the information I was seeking.
For me, having joined a support group was a very huge thing for me, in that those people had been there before and there they were.
And then I attended a conference in Cape Town, and that was the springboard for it all, because I heard various things coming from breast cancer to other cancers affecting women. And I said, whoa, hold it. I haven't heard any stories about men here. And then I met up with a friend called Stephen Small, and I spoke to him about this, and he said, look, why don't we put our heads together and start something? That's when the organization Cancer name stemmed from.
I was one of the founder members of Can Survive. And I think it's in quite a unique way that we are bringing the message of the importance of early detection to rural communities, local areas that don't normally get the message of the signs of cancer. So what we do is we get on these bikes, and every year we travel about 2,500 kilometers, visiting as many communities as we can.
We'd run awareness programs, we start educating children, men. We go to various hospitals and institutions, and we just do awareness and education.
We've been to schools, we've been to hospitals, underprivileged children, people who could not walk, who are on wheelchair, which touched us so much to see us caring and seeing people who are really disabled, but being excited, want to stand up on those chairs and dance with us as we celebrating this life, caring and bringing hope to the hopeless.
Can I say knowledge is power? Knowledge is power. Knowledge sets us free.
We have educated face-to-face about 50,000 people, and we have given each of those people a brochure in their own language. And we normally ask them, when you've read this brochure, please give it to somebody else. So I think we can confidently say that the printed material that we've distributed, we've educated over 100,000 people. That's excluding the media coverage.
And I said to God, please save me so I can create awareness around cancer.
We need to find a way of actually building empathy again in our country, building heart again for people who are struggling.
And the most beautiful thing is that we even go to schools. You know, if you educate children, they then educate their parents.
We as South Africans need to take on, head on. We should not be complacent about all of this. More emphasis nowadays is being placed on AIDS, yet there are more people dying of cancer.
There is no awareness about cancer, not at all. We need professional people to help us to go to the poor people and talk to them and give them awareness about this.
We need to find something that will motivate people to stand up and say, we want to be part of this movement and want the voice of cancer patients to be heard, but that it actually becomes something that we push for in a more political way, in a more radical way. Perhaps we need to toy more.
As difficult as cancer is and how as traumatic and as frightening as it is, that at the end of the day it's an experience of life that really is enhancing of life.
We make a difference and we teach people and we educate people, but sitting on that bike, despite the fact that you had cancer, is just a fantastic feeling, and it just makes you feel so powerful.
Cancer can be cured if found early and treated early. So I urge people to do self-breast examinations. Go for tests, know your body.
Be supportive. Knowledge is power. That's why we're out there to educate you, not to fear, because we understand sometimes you reject because of fear.
When you've got cancer, come out there and seek for help. Go for the counseling. Tell your family. Tell the people. Go out and shout.
Don't let this thing kill you. Do something. There are people who can help you, who can respect you. We need those people.
As I'm sitting here, I'm not scared to die. And if I have to die of cancer, I know I had probably lived the last 8 years. I lived more than 20 years, I would have.
Face it, if it's here, you are bigger than cancer. I'll remain an activist as long as I'm still alive. Viva cancer.
There's life after cancer.